The pandemic and distance learning are keeping many students at home these days, but that hasn't kept one Fremont teen from reaching out to her community. 16-year-old Vedika Jawa has combined her passion to help others with her love for baking. June joins us now to tell us about her nonprofit organization that's making a difference not just here at home, but across the country. Vedika, you're 16 years old. How does a 16-year-old girl in Fremont reach across the country to help those in need?
Yeah, so when I was 13 years old, I started to, notice the amount of people living on the streets, and that idea of someone having to go to sleep hungry was something that really just didn't sit right with me, and I knew I wanted to find a way to help. And so I contacted a couple homeless shelters and asked them if I could bake for them. Taking about 4 of my friends, we'd go to the local homeless shelter in Fremont at Abode every Friday and bake for about 60 residents. And so we absolutely love to bake. And as time went on, we started to see that a lot more shelters were interested in receiving these desserts, and also that a lot more of my friends were interested in helping out. And so we partnered up with another shelter named City Team, and we started baking for them. Flash forward to 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and that's when everything kind of came to a slowdown due to the rules and regulations, Abode and City Team had. We could no longer deliver our desserts during the pandemic. Not wanting to kind of put a stop to this good deed, I thought, why not contact a couple more food banks and shelters and see if any of them would be able to take our desserts. And that's when I came in contact with South Hayward Parish, which was a food bank that was happy to receive our desserts. And so we were serving about 300 desserts, 300 families. And so that was a much bigger number than what we had been serving previously. And I knew we needed many more volunteers. And that's when I decided to create a BAKE4SAKE Instagram in an effort to, update followers about more volunteer opportunities and any ways they could get involved. And to my surprise, instead of just getting responses from my classmates, I actually got responses from high schoolers all across the country. And that's kind of when I realized that age is no barrier, or location is no barrier to wanting to make an impact. And I started working with them to help launch chapters in their own city. And so today we have about 10 chapters in 8 states.
That is absolutely incredible. First of all, I would like to say that for a 16-year-old, you are one of the most well-spoken 16-year-olds that I've encountered. So that's just, I'm sure your parents are actually very, very proud of you. And we just saw a video of people across the country. I'm assuming it was across the country, video of yourself, your classmates holding these delicious desserts. These don't look like your average, chocolate chip cookies out of a container. What are these desserts that you're making?
Yeah, so we kind of like to leave that up to the volunteers, and we like to give them a wide range. And actually, some of our volunteers are extremely talented bakers, so they will make macaroons, and, some will want to make brownies. And so, the good thing about baking is always you can, put your own flavor, or, you can put your own touch to it. And so I think, from across the country, there's like different recipes that everyone wants to try. So we try to, give our recipients as wide of a range of desserts.
Now, I love that. I was reading an article that you had written on Medium, and the article starts off with, quote, "But Mom, I don't want to eat Indian food again. I just want to go to Sweet Tomatoes." You were 10 years old, according to this article, and now you're 16. And you were able to kind of differentiate the life that you were living at the time versus the life that unfortunately a lot of people live here in San Francisco and across the country, the homeless life, where they don't have a home. A lot of people just have carts or boxes. A lot of people just have the clothing on their back. It's very impressive that someone, a young person that lives a relatively sheltered life, as you describe in your article, is able to see beyond that and see that there is a world of people that need so much help, of all ages. There's people as young as yourself, some even younger, and some as old as 70, 80. What was it like? I can only imagine, when you think about something that's so upsetting for the average person, is it's a lot to kind of process. It's a lot to absorb. I don't know if I would have been able to mentally handle all of that the way you kind of processed it when I was 16. What was it like for you to kind of come to that realization?
Yeah, so I can definitely say when I was 10, 11 years old, that idea was never something that really came to me. But I think when I, became a teenager, my parents were always people who wanted to try their best to help others and always told me and my brother that, you should always find a way to give back to the community. And so I think for me, it was something that, once I became a little older, I started to notice it, living in the Bay Area, especially, visiting, San Francisco with family and things like that, and taking our relatives to San Francisco, you really see firsthand how many people are actually living on the streets. And I think, visiting San Francisco, I think definitely so many times was something that, like seeing it in person, I would say was something that, I was like, okay, this is not okay. And I knew that, I couldn't provide them with a home. So I was like, why not try to do the next best thing and, show them that they are appreciated and show them that they are loved. And so that's kind of where that whole idea came of giving them desserts to hopefully spread some more joy and kindness in the world.
And what I love, Vedika, is that there are a lot of families that, let's say, they go to these food banks. They may not necessarily be homeless, but they go to food banks to supplement whatever food that they are able to bring. Sometimes people don't have the money. They just need to buy the basics. They don't have the money for the desserts because they have to buy the basics. But you are providing that extra luxury, in a sense, for them by giving them, if they have the meal at home, they have a delicious dessert to accompany it with, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
love, sorry, go
I
ahead.
think that was the whole inspiration of it. I knew that a lot of people, they were able to get access to shelters, like food from shelters and food from food banks. But one thing I realized was, they were missing that extra desserts, and I thought, why not add a little extra cherry on top?
I love that. Now, Vedika, I myself, I'm Iranian American, so I'm very familiar with ethnic desserts. I know that, according to your article, you are Indian. Do you make any Indian desserts, or do you kind of stick to the standard, like chocolate chip cookies or a cake or whatnot? Do you kind of expand into the world of ethnic desserts?
So I actually personally have not. I don't have much experience in baking Indian desserts, but I know a couple of the volunteers, have made ethnic desserts, and so that's always nice to see. And I think a lot of people appreciate it. I personally have so far stuck to like cookies and macaroons. I always like putting my own flavor to my recipes. So yeah.
I love that. And yeah, just based on your sentence, I don't want to eat Indian food again. I can imagine you wanting to kind of branch off into other areas. Vedika, if people want to get involved with Bake4SAKE, that is the name of the organization. If they want to get involved across the Bay Area, or if they're in other parts of the country, our platform is reached, it's a digital platform, so it can be reached anywhere in the country if, people tune in. If people want to be help out or be a part of Bake4SAKE or kind of contribute in any way that they can, how can they do that?
So they can check out our website, BAKE4SAKE.org, the four being the number four. And there's a link there where they can sign up to be a volunteer. And then one of our team members will be in contact with you. And so either we will connect you with an already existing chapter, or we will help you start your very own chapter, depending on your location.
That is amazing. Well, Vedika, I'm sure that those in need are so grateful for what you're providing. It's not just something you're providing for those in need. You're providing a little bit of happiness, a little bit of joy, smile during a time that it's been really hard to be able to kind of crack that smile every now and then due to the pandemic. So I think it's so wonderful that you and your colleagues and the entire organization across the country do what you do. So I want to say thank you for that. I'm going to find you on Instagram. You said your Instagram handle for the organization is Bake4SAKE, the number 4, right?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to find you and I'm going to see if I can get involved. Vedika, we really appreciate your time and everything that you're doing. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.